You're watching News 24 Live. Welcome to another New Models Wheels show with Sean Parker from Wheels 24. Today, we are discussing two exciting new bakkies headed for South Africa in the new year. Sean?
Hey Nick.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming in. Long time no see.
Pleasure, yeah, it's good to be back.
So let's start off with the first model, because it seems like the second model was based on it.
Yeah.
The Mitsubishi Triton, next generation Triton.
Yeah, it's the 5th generation which has just been unveiled. We'll see this in possibly mid-year 2016. And the Triton changed its name from the Colt, which was sold in South Africa as well. So the 4th generation,
which was a top seller, I believe, in the sort of early 2000s.
Yeah, the Colt had quite a big following in the country. I think that when a manufacturer changes a model's name, it's difficult for the market to get used to it, because people sort of follow a brand. The Triton didn't do as well as the Colt, which is why I think it was mentioned in the release that the Triton, the 1st generation Triton, sort of looks to the Colt and takes some styling features and stuff like that.
Sure, we know about the rivalry at the moment between the Ranger and the Hilux.
Yeah.
How is a model like this going to sort of fit into that market?
At the moment, from what we know about the Triton, it doesn't. Look, we don't know how big the Ranger is going to be. We know that the Ranger and the Hilux obviously have a single cab and a double cab, and we know the super cabs and all of the things. So, from what we do know, there will be a top of the range 4x4, and that will be powered by a 2.4 turbo diesel, about 133 kilowatts, almost 400 Newton meters of torque. It's going to use a leaf spring suspension on the rear, so it should be quite a comfortable, sort of ride. And the top spec will have things like cruise control, bi-xenon lights, keyless operating system, dual, and sort of like climate control, a reversing camera. So, like we've spoken about with the Ranger, the bakkies have taken their spec level up, sort of quite a notch, because it's a lifestyle car, and it's got to have sort of features that that can compete with, like with a saloon car or an SUV. So I think the Triton, I think that when the 4th generation came out, a lot of people, were kind of, not that keen with it, but perhaps now with this new version, we'll see those old sort of cult followers, come back like into the brand. Whether they've gone to Ford or to Toyota, it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens with that.
Well, Sean, this leads us on to the second model, which I believe was more or less based on the Mitsubishi, the Fiat Fullback, which has sort of connotations of rugby lovers and bakkie lovers, and is it a sort of stereotype we're going for here, or what?
We are not quite sure where that name originated from. Could have been in the US. As you know, Fiat is owned by Fiat bought Chrysler, so it could be an American football, sort of link, or rugby. I think obviously in South Africa we link it to rugby, and the Fiat Fullback is the first bakkie in South Africa since the Strada, which was a 1-tonner that Fiat sold a couple of years back. It's a Mitsubishi Triton with a Fiat badge. The engine details that we do know about the Fullback that's coming to South Africa, it will have a 2.5 diesel and a 2.4 petrol. And it will be offered in single cab and double cab. That's going to be a difficult one for buyers to get their head around. A Fiat bakkie, Fiat perhaps doesn't have the world's best reputation, and
what, for heavy duty vehicles, or?
Well, look, South Africans are they're brand biased when they've sort of grown up with VW and Toyota and BM and Merc. So I think when a brand like Fiat brings out a bakkie, something that people think it's going to be, it has to be very, durable and needs to do a lot of things, perhaps they wouldn't associate that build quality with the bakkie. But it is based on the Triton, and as I said, it's a Fiat badge Triton. So it's built in Thailand. Thailand is the biggest bakkie market in the world. So I think they've done their homework, and we'll have to wait and see, when it arrives. It should be in the 3rd quarter of next year. So we'll have a drive, and then we'll give our thoughts. But
It
just
sounds
show-
like it's got a bit more power than the Mitsubishi.
Yeah, look, as I said, the details that have been, sort of given to us now are not the full details. We'll get a full range and we'll know exactly what's coming. But the fact that these two new models have been, sort of shown, and it just shows that the bakkie market in SA is massive. And for Fiat to bring an item here shows that there's definitely a market for people who don't want the established brands. And it's possibly not going to be at that price point. So to give buyers another option is obviously cool for the market. It remains to be seen, what happens. But the fullback is obviously a welcome, like addition to the country.
But if you had to sort of put these four vehicles and measure them on power, pricing, specs, all that kind of thing. I mean, what should a potential buyer? I mean, who in your opinion would come out tops?
Having driven the Ranger, I think the Ranger at the moment is probably top of the pile. The new Hilux looks to have maybe bridged that gap a little bit. I think that the kind of tech that the Ranger has is it's sort of like class leading. But yeah, we don't know price, sort of price point with these two. Toyota is always going to be up there because of the following that they have, and because of the resale value as well. The Hilux, generally tends to hold its value a little bit better than the Ranger. So for me, top of the pile at the moment is definitely the Ranger, and we'll see once the other three, sort of come out, once we've driven them, what we have to say about them. But the Ranger at the moment is definitely tops, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Cool.